Hey guys, RanterInShades here, because as my first memorized vlog style, and as kind of a follow-up to the video I made called Cartoons Suck These Days, I'm going to be talking about a cartoon that I also think sucks these days, really because I think it deserves its own video, because it's not exactly a show that you would lump in with the Nickelodeon cartoons, because this show was not on Nickelodeon. And I'm kind of glad it was never on Nickelodeon, because it just really wouldn't have fit. This is also a show that I've actually had a really long history with. Again, that's another reason why I think it deserves its own video. I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite shows, The Simpsons. Now, I've been watching The Simpsons since I was about 12, I guess, when I was given season 6 on DVD for my birthday, and which I think is the best season, and I was just hooked on that show from there on out. Really, I only care for the first 14 seasons. After that, I think it's where the show really dropped the ball. There are a few good episodes from the next 2 seasons, but really few and far between. After that, really is where the show really just started losing it, and I became very aware of this. My little brother and I, we always DVR'd the episodes that were being recorded on Fox at 7:30 every night here. And basically, all the Fox network was really showing was these newer episodes that, as the day went on, I just became more annoyed by, which I'll get to why later. But ever since then, my brother was just in such denial that the show was not really as funny anymore. Or at least what TV was showing, anyway. But moving on now. So what exactly do I think makes these newer episodes really unfunny? Really, I just think the show relies too much on pop culture. That's the main problem that I have with it. There always needs to be a guest appearance from somebody who's really relevant to really boost the ratings. Like, I remember all over Facebook there was talk of Lady Gaga appearing on The Simpsons, and I'm like, really? Are you really that desperate for ratings that you need to bring somebody like that in? Really? And also, with appealing to pop culture, I remember when I posted my video about the Harlem Shake being a #1 single, I remember in the recommended videos I was seeing The Simpsons do the Homer Shake, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I also remember the main thing that really just got me to just leave was when, I forget which episode this was in, but for the couch gag, it just panned around showing all the characters singing along to TikTok by Kesha. I remember just saying, alright, I've had enough. That's it for me. I can't take this shit anymore. And I never looked back since. Like I said, my brother was in total denial of the show not being funny anymore. He would every now and then try to get me to watch a brand new episode with him, and I just found myself not even chuckling for more than once in a whole half-hour block. That kind of said a lot to me. So I had just given up at that moment. Nowadays, if I want to watch The Simpsons, I'll just dig into my DVD collection and take out one of those earlier seasons and just kick back and let those good times roll. I know some people probably are going to be saying, oh, dude, The Simpsons has been unfunny for years, a lot longer than you're drawing the line. I know different people, draw the line earlier or maybe even later, but 14 is really where I draw the line. Some people stop at 12, some people stop at 10. I don't know. I think those seasons are miles better than what we got now. Another reason why I think The Simpsons suck these days lies in really just discussing one episode that I really think is probably the worst episode I've ever seen of The Simpsons. The episode is called That 90s Show, and really that episode is just there just for the sake of, making some 90s references and parodies. But there are two main things I have a problem with in that episode. The first is that it changes the continuity of the show's storyline. And the second problem that I have with it is that it's just historically inaccurate. Like, for Homer to have been the real inventor of grunge, it would have to have taken place in, like, the mid-'80s. Or at least in the early 90s, maybe. But a lot of these 90s references don't happen till, like, later. And that's a pretty minor problem, at least, but it's still something that I take into account. The first thing, that it changes the continuity. When writers do that on shows, I just look at that as it just being a big fuck you to the audience. You know, I'm sure a lot of fans were really pissed off by that. Changing the continuity of the show really hits just a big middle finger to everybody. And I don't like when shows do that. And unfortunately, that's what The Simpsons does a lot now, is that it changes the continuity. And all these really just cliche fucking plot lines where it shows, you know, Homer and Marge's marriage on the rocks, when you know that nothing for the long run is going to be happening. They're going to work things out. You don't need to fucking worry, or you're not going to be held on a cliffhanger because something's already going to, because it's going to follow through. There's just no point anymore. I really think the show needs to cancel. I really think the show should have canceled like 10 years ago, I think. Like, I've been hearing, you know, these rumors that this season's going to be the last one, or this is going to be the last 3 seasons, or whatever. But no, it's never it. I really think it's time. I know everybody's just afraid to pull the trigger and afraid of a world without The Simpsons, but it's time. I've had enough of this. The show will always, you know, hold the record for, like, being the longest running animated show on television. I'm sure there's never going to be another animated show that will outrun The Simpsons. Because if I've learned anything from cartoons, it's that they really only last for so long. The Simpsons should be lucky that it stood the test of time for as long as it has, but it's time. Family Guy, it's not much better. I haven't been finding Family Guy particularly funny for a long time either. With that show, I only care for the first 7 seasons. After that, when the Cleveland show started, I just really started to notice plot lines being recycled and just not really laughing a whole lot. Like, same basic thing. And don't fucking get me started on the Cleveland show. That show is such fucking garbage. I have no idea why that show is still airing, how it's being renewed for more seasons. Who the hell's watching this? I mean, aside from diehard Family Guy fans. That show is just an unfunny ripoff of an already, at the time, unfunny show. Who needs this? The show sucks so much. I mean, people are telling me that Family Guy's has been getting a lot funnier these days. Maybe it has, but I don't know. I just really lost faith in the show. It's really just unfortunate. I would watch new Family Guy over new Simpsons any day. So thus sums up my thoughts on the entire animation domination lineup. I forgot to talk about a couple shows. American Dad, I've never watched before, so I can't really say anything about that. I haven't really found time to watch it. I've heard different things about that show, but I don't know. I've just never really found time to check it out. And I don't even want to watch Bob's Burgers. That show sounds terrible. So thus concludes my thoughts on animation domination with special emphasis on The Simpsons. I hope you're having a good day. Tomorrow's going to be my last day here before I head on back to New York. Let's make the most of that. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time. Oh, and happy birthday to Bret Michaels. I would be wearing my Poison shirt had I not been wearing it yesterday, so keep rocking, dude.